Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, that was weak. Come on. Good afternoon, everyone. It's much
Good
better.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rosa. All right, let me share my screen. Kick things off. All righty, all righty. Thank you guys for making it. We had the fire drill right before lunch, right before the meeting, which was kind of crazy. We were thinking that we might be stuck outside for longer. We at least beat the other building. The other building was longer than 30 minutes stuck outside. So yeah, they had hundreds of employees stuck outside in the sun. I don't know why they didn't go to the back of the building in the shade, but who knows? But anyways, we survived. Good job, you guys. Just wanted to welcome aboard new members to Kent North. Whoops, and that did not play, did it? Hold up. Zhao and then Michael and Dana Billings came over from Redmond John L. Scott and joined John By's team. So they're doing a team up program to kind of like be able to, you know, pass on those referrals, you know, into the future so they can retire and do stuff like that. So welcome aboard. All right, got to talk about some small changes with big risk. The new forms have definitely been causing a lot of headaches for some people. The first form we're going to talk about is the Form 35, the inspection addendum to the purchase and sale agreement. The new update is definitely different, and it is catching people. And this is the section we're going to go over. So buyer shall not provide the inspection report or portions of the report to seller unless seller requests otherwise in writing. So that kind of is how it's been. That's how it was on the last form before the update. But this is the part that's new. Upon seller's written request, buyer shall provide to seller the inspection report, portions of the report, or the inspector's recommendation for additional inspections as requested by the seller. So this is the section that is getting people. Because what was the old way? If you had to do additional inspections, what'd you have to do?
Include the inspector's recommendation.
The 35R.
Right, you had to mark the 35R and then include the inspector's further recommendations, right? And that's it. That used to be the old way. If you sent the 35R with further recommendations by the home inspector right now, your buyer is going to waive the inspection contingency.
No.
I know, I'm seeing, I know there's a few people like, what? So if you end up sending anything of the inspection, anything, the buyer's waiving it. Unless seller requests any of the check boxes below. So there used to only be the two boxes. That was there before, but now the new update is that you know that if they want to see further recommendations from the home inspector, then this third box can be marked. Why did the forms committee do this? Why do you think they did it?
People were trying to screw the rules by putting too much info from the inspection in the notice of additional inspection.
You're pretty dang close. They were still sending it over and not following the instructions and then still waiving it for their buyers. So they kept complaining. They're like, look, let's just make it nothing goes to the seller unless the seller requests it. So that's why they made the change. Because there were tons of it happening. I mean, a ton. We probably had 4 or 5 of those just this year alone. Easily, if not more. So this new section is for the seller to mark only. If you are writing up a deal, you cannot mark this up as a buyer broker. This is for the seller to decide. You can't decide for the seller. I know there's a lot, we're seeing offers coming through and I'm getting phone calls like, hey, they marked this that they get to provide the report. We don't want that. It's not for the buyer broker to mark at all. So Now the seller can decide when they receive an offer, what they want to get. And if they mark it, and if you're asking for anything or you need additional inspections and you don't provide it, now the buyer's in breach. So we've already had that issue too so far this year. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, oh yeah, we want additional inspections. Well, wait a minute, you didn't even have an inspector come over, we know. You didn't access it, so the seller said, we want to see additional inspections recommendation from the home inspector, and they didn't supply it. So you can't extend it if you don't have it. Amanda?
If this is not checked by the seller at time of mutual, but then the buyer gives notice of additional inspection, can the seller ask then, or this needs to be checked prior?
Great question. So if you get mutual, none of these boxes are marked. You don't send anything over from the inspector. You only send your 35R marking additional inspections are basically kicking in. And then the 5-day default, starts.
So seller can't ask at that point
Seller could, but the buyer doesn't have to supply it if it's not checked.
at mutual.
Yep. Now, the form to give permission after mutual is the 35C. So just use that. And that's the one that's updated now to include all 3. All right, I see one chat, and this will be the only one I'll do because it's way too hard to, 35C. Good job, Andrew. All right. All right, let's get on to the next one. This is the other one people are tripping on, and it's the update. It's the new update for Form 22B. So it's less than 30 or more than 45 days is the new date range for acceptance. You've got to be, if you're accepting an offer, you're the buyer broker, you list the buyer's property for the contingent sale. If you get an offer, and if it is in the window of the new window of 30 days and 45 days for closing, you're okay to get it signed off and mutual and then go ahead and sign around without getting seller's permission. If you are below 30 and above 45 days now, you have to get seller's permission. So the old rule was 30 and 60. You have to be extremely careful now because guess what? We've seen it to where a broker, basically our listing broker, or excuse me, our buyer broker and listing broker for our buyer, they had a deal. They sent it over. They were within the date range. Guess what? They didn't get mutual till the following day. And so that kicked him over the date range. Listing broker terminated, and they took him another better offer. And they could have kept their earnest money. So that's the part that stinks. So this is already like hitting more and more people. So please watch out for this one. If you're doing contingent, watch the date range. All right. Now's the 22 AWO. This is the brand new form they created. If you're a buyer broker and the appraisal comes through and that appraiser actually has work orders, if they note work orders at all, anything, it doesn't matter if it's the CO2 detectors or the straps on the hot water tank, if it's any work order at all, you must use this form and you have to include the pages of what the work orders are. You have to prove it. They don't have to supply the whole appraisal.
As a buyer's agent or listing?
Buyer's agent. Yeah, because the buyers, it's their property. So this is another one that people are missing. We've already had it, a couple of ones where, they're telling them, yep, you got these work orders now and stuff. So now you have to prove it. You have to send this over. And it's only one-sided. The buyer signs off on here because the new language in the 22A protects the buyer now further in the event that the seller's like, I'm not doing any work orders. And then the buyer's like, oh, I'm walking then. Well, I'm keeping your earnest money. So this is to help protect that situation. I know, more forms, more rules, more forms, more rules. All right, time for a quiz time. You guys got your number 2 pencils? Who do you believe this provision is intended to protect? And I'm talking about the brand new number 15, information verification period. It either expires and you choose the date after mutual, or it's satisfied and waived. Who is this made to protect?
So.
All the brokers that were having their clients waive X.
Right.
What do you think? Let's hear it. Raise your hand if you're with the buyers. So you're like, this protects the buyer. Oh, well, little, that's that. Who thinks it's the seller? Yeah, but a buyer can get out of a deal with that language, right? Can't they terminate?
But they can shorten it from the 10 days. That's the standard.
For both.
For both? I guess it depends on who's your client, huh? All right, I gotta get wordy. I gotta read through this one because I don't want to skip anything. That's why I put it in here. Just have a lot more information about what this information verification period is really for and who it really protects. So the boilerplate language in the purchase and sale agreement is intended to protect the seller. Buyer only gets to terminate, remember, if there is a material inaccuracy. The form says material inaccuracy in any of seller's information. What does that mean? If there's a material inaccuracy in seller's information, it means that seller has made a misrepresentation. And if seller makes a misrepresentation of information, then what might buyer be able to do after closing? Sue them, right? They're gonna sue them. Buyer might be able to sue seller seeking damages based on that misrepresentation. And we see this play out over and over again in transactions. Buyer sues seller for a misrepresentation regarding square footage, for a misrepresentation regarding the type of utilities that are available to the property, for misrepresentation describing whether or not the property is connected to sewer versus septic, for a misrepresentation regarding what services and what schools are accessible to children who live in this property. If a seller has made a mistake in the information that they provide, is the seller better served by the purchase and sale agreement put together by their broker, by a purchase and sale agreement that gives the buyer no option for amends based on that misrepresentation, but to sue the seller? Or is seller better served by a purchase and sale agreement that says to the buyer, hey buyer, you've got this time period prior to closing when you should go out and verify all the information I've told to you that's important to you, because I'm giving you the right to terminate this transaction. If anything that I said to you is a mistake, because guess what, buyer, as a seller, I'm human, I could make a mistake. I could be relying on a square footage number that's different from the square footage number that you come up with. I'm telling you which school my children attend. I can't account for whether or not the school district might have redrawn those boundaries. Whatever it is that the seller is telling the buyer when the buyer submits the offer and says with respect to that information verification provision, I'm reserving to myself as the buyer time to review the seller's information provided to me so that I can terminate the transaction if the seller has made a misrepresentation, intentional or otherwise, and seller agrees to those terms. And it turns out that there actually is a mistake in the information sellers provided. If buyer makes that discovery prior to closing and it terminates transaction, so be it. Seller go find a better buyer, giving them accurate information who's not going to sue you after closing, or in that same circumstance where buyer had the information verification provision, time frame, didn't use it, closes transaction, and then finds out that the kids in this house are going to a school district that the parents didn't attend. And then the buyer sues the seller for a misrepresentation. Then seller has a defense. You negotiated and contracted for the right to verify the information that you say is important to you as a homeowner in this property, and yet you did nothing to verify which school your kids would attend. The argument to the court, Your Honor, the buyer failed to do their due diligence. Your Honor, the buyer is not being truthful. Now, when they say that this information is so important, they wouldn't have purchased it if they'd known the truth, when all they had to do was pick up the phone, call the school district to find out, is the seller going to win a lawsuit, right? After closing, is that their defense? I don't know. There's no guarantee outcome to any piece of litigation. There's no case that can't be won or lost. But here's the truth, listing broker. If you negotiate away the information verification provision, then your seller has no defense in the face of a seller misrepresentation. Lot more teeth in the contract for the seller in that sense, right? So this comes from Annie's snippet, and we actually ended, I had this not even planned, I put together all this stuff and, for the meeting, because I knew it was the stuff that people are struggling with and going over with the new forms update, and guess what? Last night, we had one. We actually had a case where I helped our broker get out of a deal. They had 1 day left. They had 1 day on their verification period. One. And we got them out. We verified inaccurate information that was in the seller disclosure statement. And here they waived the Form 17, waived inspection. They did a whole bunch of stuff, but we found some inaccuracies and terminated the 90Z. And on the new 90Z, you have to actually write out what are the inaccuracies. It's not a get out of jail free card. Questions? I saw
So
hands
even
up.
though they waived the Form 17, you were able to utilize Form 17 to get out of it?
No,
Okay.
we used the verification period.
You used the verification period,
Yep.
but the information came from.
Yep, it can come from anything. It can even come from your flyers. Last year, we got our buyer out of a deal that waived inspection. They had waived inspection, waived Form 17, and we had the verification period left. Guess what? The the listing broker said the house had AC. We called and we said, there's no AC to the house at all. And we said, yeah, well, we're getting out because you misrepresented the property, said it has AC. She said, no, it doesn't have AC. We go, yeah, we know that. She's like, well, we never said it did. I go, we scanned over the flyer. Her marketing assistant copied from the last house and left all the bullet points from the thing, and we got out. And she had never heard of it before. She's been in business for 19 years. So these are the things that you can do and verify. So there is protections. Don't get me wrong, there are protections for the buyer. But after reading that, doesn't that make more sense that, wow, this actually, listing brokers, it protects our sellers more so after closing. Abby?
So in that last paragraph there where it's talking about, Your Honor, the buyer's not being truthful, so obviously the seller's standpoint. The last sentence, I think there may be a mistake. If you negotiate away with the information verification provision, then you, buyers, have no defense in the face of the seller misrepresentation.
No. It's exactly right, because think about it. You're in court, buyer's suing you, the seller, and they're saying, we had no verification period. The only way our broker, made it waived, or it's waived. We had no time to verify it. The seller's defense is all on that. But last question, then we got to keep going.
So I'm just trying to, I think, piggyback on her. So the buyer, let's say they waived it. This is what you're saying, right? The buyer waived it. And so then.
You can't waive it now. You can only shorten the period.
You can waive it.
You can waive it.
You can waive it.
You can waive it.
One more. Satisfied waive right from the beginning. They separated this out. The attorneys and the forms committee absolutely hated this. They hate it because they know this protects sellers. It's all for the sellers. And most people are like, oh, it's make my deal stronger. Yeah, it does. So maybe you shorten it if you have to, right? But having it gone, they hated it. Because you remember that actually item W in our boilerplate language, it actually used to be all together in with, I think it had, it used to be compacted the last letters. It was all together. They had to separate it because people were crossing it all off. Do you remember that? They're crossing off, making initials like, yep, we're waiving it all, we're buying it. And they're like, oh, great. Like now it's not protecting the sellers. So that's what, they hate it, but you can waive.
But if they do it on this right here, let's say they said, satisfied and waived, isn't that the same thing that the buyer, that the seller has no defense?
Right. Now the
So-
seller has
so
no
then-
defense
then-
for a misrepresentation.
So as a listing broker, we would wanna say, nope, we're gonna give you some days versus you said, okay, got it.
That is it. That's exactly it. I guarantee you less than 10% of our brokers know what this.
But also just putting it on the front page instead of the last page makes a big deal too, just that you're actually calling everyone's attention to it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was buried.
Well, they wanted it separated and to stop initials because that's it was constantly being countered, right? Less counters. All right.
So how, like, if you had one day and then it's satisfied waiting one day versus just satisfied and it's waiting.
How it's different is
They have one
if it's
day.
satisfied and waived, it's gone.
It's gone.
There's no protection after closing for a seller for misrepresentation. If a mistake is made under anything.
On the 22D where you mark,
That gives them X amount of time, and then after closing, there's.
I missed that first part, Nick. What was it?
So like the other option is you have this much time to verify.
Yeah.
And then you still are just exposed after closing, no, I mean, like, I guess.
Obviously, there's no guarantee, but the language was formed to protect sellers from misrepresentation. That's it. I mean, that is really the basis for that boilerplate language.
I guess, but the satisfied part of it, if it's waived, I get that, but if it's satisfied, it means this is done, this is off the table now, you no longer have this as a recourse to come back to this after the fact, right? Like, no. Can you lift that aside?
Not an attorney, nor have I played one on TV, Nick. Vanessa,
so
last
what
question.
if it's like a typo on the 22D on the second page, there's a box that we mark, or I don't know what page, that the brokers make no, like basically.
Number one,
Yeah. So how is
that's
that?
protecting us and the firm.
So for like a typo, so what's the difference between a typo and the seller misrepresentation?
Well, because it's guaranteed, the buyer takes it as a guarantee, don't they? You guarantee this house, you said what's wrong with it on your seller disclosure. You tell me what all the features are and the upgrades and everything you've done to the property, broker. That's what it all. All right, let's keep going because we got a lot of stuff to go through. All right, time for a market update. Obviously, we are in the summer market at the end. Boy, that went slow. We're at the very end, August, so this is the last part of our summer market. Soon we'll have the fall market, right, obviously, and less listings. All right, let's look at King and Pierce County market stats. Monthly key box totals comparison this year to last. I had to fill it in because it wasn't in it. I had to pull the data. So it's picking up a tiny bit, but again, the absorption is increasing. If you keep your 24-hour market watch or the 7-day market watch for either King County or whatever, you should see every single week, all the listings are coming on, more are coming off. It's still been following that pattern. All right, so average sales price in July 2023 for King County alone, residential is 1.153. It's almost identical. It's barely off. And then year to date, we're at 1116, and that's off 6.5%. It's hardly off at all. King County residential only, there were only 2,158 new listings in July. 1,000 less listings compared to last year. And last year was low. That's low. Total active was 2293. 2293 total. That's last year at the same time was 3684. It's down 37.76% of inventory. You guys know it. Everyone's like those new listings, as soon as they come on, that's the indicator for activity. Because the backlog of buyers are all on the fresh produce, right? That's what we always see. Pendings, 1826 last year at the same time, 2098, it's off just barely 13%. Closed is 1640, last year is 1952, so just off almost 16%. And then median sales price for residential closed is 897,500. Last year it was 890 at the exact same time. So it's off barely 0.84%. And then total months of inventory is 1.40. King County condos, 691 new listings. Last year was 856. Total active is 891. Last year was 1,034, you're almost 14% off. Pending sales, it's 565. Last year, same time, was 607, so barely off at almost 7%. And then closed was 483 for condos. Last year, same time, 583, 100 houses, 17.15%, and median price point of 510,000. Last year was 490. It's up 4%, and then 1.84 month supply. Seattle downtown's probably got the highest level of inventory if you look for just condos. Pierce County, average sales price 616, 687. That's barely off, 3.4%. And then year to date is 594, 219, which is barely off, 4.8%. Pierce County residential only, brand new listings was 1,115. Last year, same time was 1,688. And then only a total of actives is 1,278. Last year was 2,202. It's up 41.96%. If you're shopping in Pierce County, more affordability, it's definitely where, the sales competition is going to be very, very fierce. You guys need to keep going back to our YouTube channel for the recorded classes for how to win in multiple offer situation. Probably review that. In fact, I think that class just took the lead for the most watches. So I think that people are kind of like recognizing that I need more ways to come up to be competitive. Pendings 1,084. Last year was 1,340. It's up 19.10%. Closed is 916, and last year was 1183, off 22.5%. And the median sale price is 541. Last year was 575. It's off 5.91%. And then months of inventory for residential only was 1.40. And that's just residential. Obviously, a lot of the inventory shortage is what's impacting and causing us the difference in the sales. Because we know if the interest rates turn to even 5% or 4.5% tomorrow, what would happen? We blow up. Yeah, it would be absolutely crazy. I mean, it would be just stupid. Like you would have bidding, like insane bidding wars. Because there's no inventory, but it would take everybody off the fence, all the sellers who are staying there. Like, I'm not gonna give up this low rate to go pay more, even if I wanted to. So interest rates are holding the gate. And Aaron's gonna talk a little bit about that in a moment. All right, Pierce County condos, 71 new listings. That's it. Last year was 119. 106 total active condos in all of Pierce County. Last year was 138, so almost 24%, off. And then pending sales, 71. Last year was 86. It's just off 17.44%. Closed was 59. Last year was 78, 24.36%. Median sales price was $399,950. Last year was $412,500. It's off 3.04%. And a 1.8 month supply for condos. Upcoming events. Oh yeah, all of those stats are in your handouts except for the Pierce counties, unfortunately. I don't understand, I put it through the printer and I noticed it only did King. So we do have those if you need them. All right, lots of events. Happy hour today, 4 o'clock. Priority Home Lending is gonna do their grand opening.
Did you know that?
I found that old photo of you, Aaron, from South Lake Union. It says free tequila at 4 o'clock, he said.
Is that a promise?
He promised.
You got it.
He said good bottles.
We'll
That's
shoot
what he
around
said.
your mouth. All right.
Because we just don't drink any tequila around here.
We're bougie together.
All right, also on, let's see, the 17th, that's this Thursday, from 3 to 7 p.m. right here, we got John By from our office. Mr. Core coach himself is gonna come out. You wanna say something about that real quick? Madam President?
So, hey guys, we're gonna have our event on Thursday. It's gonna be here. It starts at 3. We have John By, we have Ali Samuel, which he's been on HGTV on House Hunters twice. So he's gonna be talking about social media and how he leverages that. John is gonna be talking about how to grow and scale your business, how to build a team, an effective team. And then we have, Gisenia Castillo, or whatever, what's her last name? Castellano. Sorry. She's a loan officer, but she also is an investor, and she has been on the top, 250 loan officers, like, all the time for NAREP, for Hispanic real estate professionals. She's gonna talk about what she does to grow her business. She's gonna talk about short-term rentals, long-term rentals, and her experience, how to identify a deal. It's not only for Hispanics, it's for everybody, so please come support your NAREP president team, and it should be fun.
Right on. Thank you, thank you.
We'll send a registration link again tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, Kent North Summer Outing, Friday, we're gonna do a potluck style. We're gonna head to Gene Colan Memorial Beach Park, right there over by the landing and stuff, right? Isn't that where it's at? Yeah, by the Hyatt.
Can't get lost.
Can't get lost. Anything else we need to know about that one?
This one.
Real?
Bring tequila.
And bring good tequila.
Bring sunscreen, probably gonna need that too. So we're gonna do that from 11:30 to 3. All right, Tom Ferry Success Summit is next week. The watch party, of course, will be right here, just like the last, few years. That's from the 22nd through the 24th. It'll be right here in the Sky Lounge. We'll have breakfast and lunch provided. Please, light breakfast. Amy's not making French toast and scrambled eggs and
No waffles?
no waffles. That's too hard. It actually starts at 7 a.m. It's because, it's in Dallas, Texas, because the time difference. So we will have Alberto, I think, is coming here, and he's gonna be getting everything ready, just in case, because he lives so close. He's here so fast. He's here anyway. All right,
And I heard he's a really good cook.
he is. And his sister. Oh, good.
Just turning on. the event.
All right, and then also, August 29th at 10 a.m. Rick Ruby's gonna be here for core coaching. This is a free event. It starts at 10 a.m. Tuesday. Until it fills up, you can get free access. So get your phone out and scan the QR code if you want to register. John By reminded me to make sure this was in there, and I already did in there, but we're already registered.
We're registered.
Yeah, so definitely it'll be a really good event to hear Rick Ruby go over the part of the coaching and everything that they go for.
No, you do.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free, but
It's free, but it's gonna sell out. It's in the Kirkland performance center. It's just like a performance center, art center, so it's not massive, so it's gonna fill up.
I think I signed up for that on the calendar.
All right, everybody?
Yeah, we're going.
If you have never been to a core event, this would be a good one to go to for sure. Because usually Rick does not do free events, one. And second, he doesn't usually do the event unless it's Kendra or somebody else, usually.
Is he like the main guy?
Yeah,
He's the
Yep.
Tom Ferry of course.
he's the Tom Ferry of core. Yes. All right. In your handouts, we have the golf tournament, not so classic golf tournament. John L. Scott Goes Hollywood is the theme. So dress as any Hollywood star character from any movie. This is Thursday, September 7th from 8:15. The early bird cash drawing is going to be at 7:45 a.m. We have a new location this year. It is at the Auburn Golf Course.
Nice.
They're off of Green River Road. So that is where it's going to be this year. New location, new time, a little bit later, so we don't have to get there so early and spend the whole day there. So please be there. And are you ready to hit the red carpet? Join us for the day of fun. Dress as your favorite movie character or Hollywood star. So that invites will go out. And then lunch is at 12:15. There'll be door prizes, golf prizes. $25 payment will be taken out of your agent charges for your RSVP. We will get the RSVP list out soon. And then we'll have a RSVP clipboard on the front desk. No golf experience is required. Friday, August 25th is the last day for cancellations. So no exceptions. They have to do it, when they book.
And you
everything.
kind of make your own team, correct?
I don't know.
We gotta put teams together, but.
If you put it together, then, you know, we could try. All right, and then
You're welcome.
the last thing, and I don't know why that didn't go in there, roadmap tour stop from Tom Ferry in your handouts. That is in there. That is Seattle, Washington. It's gonna be at the Seattle Airport Marriott from 9 to 5 p.m. Of course, you know, with Saul being a mentor to Tom for so many years, he always gives us, you know, discount prices, so don't share this, but just for our office only, it's $129 for the whole day. You have included in your handout is your like credit form, or you can just contact Cheryl with Tom. That's on there in your handouts.
Where's that gonna be at?
It's at the SeaTac over there by the Seattle Airport Marriott, and it's all day. September 19th. It'll be on our September calendar too, but we're definitely gonna go to that. All right, and I believe, oh, last things, JLS News, the Mariners Night for Foundation Night. This is the last one of the year, and it'll be Monday, August 28th.
No, there's one more in September.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
They did do the one? Oh, I thought it was the last one. Good, but we got two left. So last one was a lot of fun. So we got a great section that they book out for it. So it's, you know, over by the first baseline.
Yes.
You're like pretty low, you know, actually got really good seats actually for the $30. $30, and all the proceeds is going to the John Scott Foundation. So it also does good too. And then last but not least, the win a trip at your next open house. The next drawing is August 31st. It's at the end of this month. I bet you Yvonne knew this. Yes. Client can win $4,000 put towards the trip of their choice. You can get those forms in your John L. Scott Library, marketing win a trip. And with that, I'll hand it to Mr. Aaron Hafner for the mortgage minute.
Mortgage minutes.
Minutes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. What's that?
Tequila and tacos.
Tequilas and tacos, you can't go wrong, right?
On a Tuesday?
You talked about the gatekeeper to breaking everything is the interest rates, right? That went to, I mean, imagine that we were just saying, like, imagine if it went to like 5%, how busy everybody would be, right? We'd be complaining. It'd be great. It'd be like, oh, no, it's got too much, but yeah, but it'd be great, right? So at the end of everyone's like, hey, it'd be nice for a slowdown. How do we know, right? So I guess the big thing right now is what's going on with the rates and everything else. So today, I think it's a little bit higher than this, but right now the 10-year treasuries are benchmark that we talk about where interest rates are located, right? And so right today, we're at 4.20. And we're at the height where we were, if you look at that number, all the way back to we were back in October. So it's just, we got good news, somewhat good news, I guess, in terms of inflation last week, but rates have not changed. You know, it's just that it's stubborn and it's sticky and it's frustrating and it's, you know, it's tough. And I feel everyone's pain because I'm in the same boat too, right? We've only got one house and there's like, you know, 500 people. So it's great to be able to listen. But anyhow, but that's kind of where we're at. And you can see where we're at the beginning of the year month. It's just been that climb all the way up. And then we hit the top part right now. So how does that translate into interest rates? We're looking at today. So yesterday was on 7.24%. I hate that. Sorry. I'm just a messenger man. So, but yeah, and just think last year at this time, we were at 5.33 and we were like, oh my gosh, look how high it is, right? 7.24. Yeah, we're up almost 2% from last year at this time.
Yeah, it's 7.26 today.
Was that the 10-year treasury? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 7.26. It's a benchmark, so it's either gonna go blasted or not. It's just, but I think, again, it's tough because we were so low before. It might go higher. I don't know. You'll see stuff that people will take. It'll be in the next 4 months. By the end of the year, it's going to drop. Other people saying it's another year and a half before it happens. I don't know, but we just deal, right? I mean, that's kind of have to work through it. So, and then we look at today, 30-year fixed around 7.24, the 7.25 on jump deal. The arms are at 7% because no one's really doing too many arms. So you're just basically, we're not doing them. And then you have your 30-year fixed for VA, and that takes you closer to high 7 to or 7%. So that's kind of where we're at, high 6, low 7, depending where you're at with no points. So if you want to pay points, you could lower. What's that?
It's crazy that FHE is so low like that compared to everything else.
Yeah, because it's insured. You know, it's got all the belt and suspenders if you need to, in case that thing goes belly up. That's why you don't charge as much of an interest rate. But that's kind of where we're at. And so it's tough. I mean, we have clients who've been waiting on the fence for like a couple months and you just talk to them every week. And it's like, I'm the worst guy in the world, right? And then when they were at 3%, I was the best guy in the world. And then, so the big thing that happened last week was the core inflation number changed. So we went from 4.80 now to 4.70. Yay. Right? But the Fed goal is 2%. And so that's the thing. So it's going to take a while for us to get where they need to be. And maybe it does go faster or not. Again, they're looking at annual numbers. So they're looking at numbers that were higher before and they're starting to work their way off. So that actual average will hopefully work its way back down. But that's the core inflation where it talks about what we pay for things. So right now they wanted to get down to 2. And so basically the next Fed meeting is in September. And the Fed meetings from last week's meeting will be released tomorrow. So we'll see what they're saying. But quote from one of the Fed governors, Michelle Bowman, thinks that additional rate increases are likely needed to lower inflation. So. I don't know. Exactly. But that's kind of where we're at. So, yes. So what does that mean? It means that the good part is, and this is what I talk to my clients and everything else, because everyone feels the same pressure that we do, right? Is now a time to buy? Is it not time to buy? But if you take a look at the home prices turning higher, you can take a look at Case-Shiller, CoreLodge, Black Knight. They're all showing that the pace that we're at is at 5, 7, almost 10% increase in value, right? That's the saving grace of what we have. And so if people want to buy, like they want to wait to buy, they're missing out on this opportunity. And here's the other part. Remember I showed this last time? Betting against the champ from 1970 or from 1941. You can see all the times the home values have gotten up, right? That's what we have to talk. That's what we have to sell. And so I know, a lot of people times aren't celebrating the appreciation that we have, right? You get a home, you're like, hey, it's great. And the buyer's like, well, I don't want to be paying for something that's gonna, I can't get into it. I'm gonna wait till the home prices come down. But that's just the wrong attitude, right? So I think, what is it? 2/3 of the US population are homeowners. So if home values are going up, which they are, our clients who want to sell and everything else are in a better shape, right? We were better off with higher values than we are with lower values, right? So think about it Eric, think about it in 2007, right? You guys been around for 2007. What was that like? It was terrible, right? It was like, what do you think when home values go down, right? No one wants to buy. Hey, can I use my equity in my house to buy the other house? No, I can't because my home value's gone down and they took away my HELOC, right? So I'm done, right? So I mean, it's just so much better off now than we were in 2007. And that was hard. I mean, who wants to buy a home that's decreasing in value, right? You're gonna have people who don't want to buy now. They certainly don't want to buy when home values come down like that. So I just think in this market that we're at, we have to celebrate and applaud the home appreciation that we have. There's no other around it, or else people won't buy. So that's my soapbox on that. But anyhow, so let's talk about this. So in that scenario, what do Lee and I do, and how do we meet with clients and help them out? Hey, we talk about what it's like versus rent versus buying. We have current payments versus versus permanent buy downs and temporary buy downs. What payments will look like after we refinance. So the big thing is, hey, you get in now. Here's what it's going to look like in a year or 2 years. So this is not your end all be all in a mortgage that you're going to pay. Rates will come down. You get in. Home values will keep continuing when you've got the equity. We'll talk about different down payment strategies. And we'll look at alternative sources of income that we can to qualify because the interest rates have gone up, the mortgage payments have gone up. So we have that conversation all the time. We strategize that little room over there. We are strategizing on how to get everyone into these homes. And of course, we have our certified mortgage ready program. We have the 10-day ready pros program, the approval payout promise, which we've gone over. And of course, our transactional excellence, where we don't miss the closing date. And it's a huge deal on that. And then on Monday, Leah, what are we going to talk about on Monday?
We're going over credit.
Woohoo! How
How to get negative derogatory items off credit, what things affect it, what scores you need to qualify, how it affects your interest rate in qualifying, and some strategies to qualify for more. We've got credit issues.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. With lower credit, what happens to interest rates, right? They go higher. They're already high now. We don't want to go higher. And how can we work on it to get it off and get it done quickly on that? And Leah is excellent at that. She's very good. She's always giving me a hard time. Like, did you do the credit? Did you do this? Did you check that? So she's great at that. And then I wanted to talk about home appraisals. Or did you put the refi on?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I don't know what. Yes, we will cover the refinance. So once we're done, right? We get them in the house, we will cover their appraisals, we'll cover the closing costs when they refinance on the next time, okay?
Within 5 years.
What's that?
Within 5 years.
For sure, yeah, we'll give them the option. So you can say, look, you want to refinance, we will cover your costs for the refinance, or if you want to pay points or additional fee to get a lower rate, you can do that too. Does that make sense or not? We will definitely do that. That's our selling point that we come up with, okay? And then, so home appraisal, we've been having this question around the last couple days, right? So on the handout, I'm gonna go over real quickly, the top FHA home repairs. So I know I had 4 people ask me that. So on an FHA loan, what do I need to worry about? For homes built before 1978, any chipping or peeling paint in the interior or the exterior must be scraped off and painted over, right? That's what the appraisers are gonna be looking at. The roof or appliances, flooring, and other functional home features should have at least 2 years left. Appraisers look at that stuff. Replace broken windows, doors, and fix routing window sills, eaves, and support columns on the porch. I see that too sometimes. In negative drainage, improving drainage so water flows away from the house. If they see there's no gutters, you don't have any downspouts, that'll definitely be called out by an appraiser on an FHA loan. Safety and handrails and stuff like that, where there's a little spot where like, hey, they should probably have a handrail, they don't. FHA will look at that stuff. That's what the FHA appraiser will look at that. And then any foundational structural damages, they'll look at that stuff too. And they will also look at the crawl space and attic if they're available. That's what they do on FHA. Conventional loans don't look at it as hard, or may not look at it all. But FHA loans will look at that. And I know we've had a couple of them talking about it and we're worried about it. So sometimes if you see it there, you can just roll the dice and see if the appraiser calls it out. Then you get to use that form again, but the new one. Or you should just kind of list the things that you have before you list it. Okay, just basic stuff. I mean, obviously everyone knows about the water heater and the CO2 detector, but if you see stuff like this where there's paint on the side and it is not painted at all, you know what I mean? Like it's just stripped away, whatever. Appraiser's going to call that out a lot of the times, especially on FHA. So if you're in an area where you think you're going to get an FHA loan, this is the kind of stuff you might want to take a look at. And if you have questions on it, just come run it by us. Say, what do you think of this? And I'll say, you might need to get it fixed or maybe not, but just be prepared, you might have to. And then, so basically FHA has different appraisal guidelines, but they will check the crawl spaces and attic, need to have gutters and railings on stairs, the health and safety issues for sure is what they're really looking at. Side needs to be painted or any chipping paint on the exterior need to be painted and looks for leaking or water damage. So if you have that, you got some rodent stuff hanging around, probably not great. You want to do that. So the reason I bring this up is that's been coming up, and we also was able to talk to one of our appraisers that we use at Priority Home Lending. And I wanted to get their take on things, right? To get some information. So what I took from them was, do provide comps or rationale for the list price, right? So if you have an appraiser, go talk to them. Say, look, I want to talk to you. Here's what I want to give you. I want to give you some stuff. Meet with them, but be more flexible in their time as they are completing multiple appraisals on the same day. So they're going to go around and do like a sales call, right? To the different properties they're looking at. And if you can be flexible with your time and you want to meet them, that'd be great. And the input on comps are welcome. They want a deal to go through. This is our appraisals that we're talking about, right? They're all. But don't give them a price you want the home to appraise for. That's not good. They don't know that. Say there's no key box, and then when you meet with them, they see the key box is still attached, right? So that's benefit. Be late or don't show up when you said you're going to be. Okay. So this is if you're going to go meet the appraiser and go talk to them. Those are kind of his pet peeves. But then some random notes I thought was very interesting. It's hard to tell if an in-law unit is permitted. So they're going to do some due diligence, but if not, they're not going to dig deeper than need to. You can't use pending or non-closed homes as comparables. Okay. You use the reconsideration value process to dispute the appraisal value. So every lender's got the way that you can dispute it, other than going to a different lender. But again, my thing is with appraisers is like, I don't know what makes a good appraiser, right? The one that appraiser that makes us work with it, there's no orders called out, home appraises at value, right? But they don't want to blow up the transaction because they're trying to, say like this home should only be worth this, but the market's telling us something different. So to me, this is coming from our appraiser. Okay, that's kind of a big deal, because they just don't want to blow it up. They know that what's gonna happen is gonna impact on everything. And they don't have other agendas, they don't need to be right, they just want they want the transaction to take place. So, and the other one is appraising the home stage doesn't impact the home value in his mind. So if you get under contract, you want to pull, if you think the staging's in there to make the home more valuable, I don't think they're gonna do it. He said it didn't impact him. And he's not concerned about electrical boxes and knob and tube wiring on there, as long as it's safe, I'm gonna be okay. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So if I can try to get him to come here, I will, put him in front of the firing lines,
Yeah.
but it was very helpful, yeah.
So the electrical box, they wouldn't care if it's a Zensko or a Federal Pacific?
I mean, I have not, Leah, you've done a ton of these, have you seen the electrical box being called out?
No, if there's like wires hanging out.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's a Zinsco. sometimes-
But you're not gonna let them buy that, typically, you're gonna let them fix it or do whatever, you know what I mean, so that's the thing, so. They're not going in to be inspectors, they're just looking at health and safety issues and stuff that's being left behind or not completed or whatever. But it's like railings, downspouts, holes in walls, stuff like that, they'll look at. But I thought it was very interesting about the staging. And the more you know, see, you'll learn something today,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Can I ask you a couple quick questions if possible?
Sure.
Okay.
Trivia.
Okay. We just had the Blue Angels come by, right? So what is the Blue Angel equivalent in the United Kingdom?
Red arrows.
Man, how'd you know that? You just know? Okay. Okay, quick, what's the Canadian one? Canadian version.
Oh, yeah. Don't know.
That's Snow Hog. I heard someone say that, yeah. All right, but that's not the actual question. Second question. Where is the Sea of Tranquility located? Where can we go and take a bath? Where?
The moon.
Moon is correct. Good job.
Tranquility is-
Yeah, Sea of Tranquility is on the moon.
Good question.
It's not in, Eastern Washington. The other one, and the last one. What is the loudest animal on Earth?
Well.
What kind of a whale?
Gray man.
It's a sperm whale. The sperm whale is 230 decibels louder than a rocket launch at 180 decibels.
Dang.
But it's in the water, so I guess we can't hear. So I don't know.
Right on. All right.
We got any questions? We're in the box over there. See you guys at 4 o'clock.
4 p.m. All right. Got to talk about home sale anniversaries, connectivity corner. How many of you do something for your clients on their home anniversary? What
Do a card count.
do we do? What do you do?
Send out notes with just a handwritten note saying congrats. It's
Congrats.
been X number of years.
Is that with a phone call too?
I think we're starting to do phone calls now too. Yeah.
Good. That I want to hear that. That's what you should be doing. Yvonne, what did you do?
I was saying the same thing.
Oh, same things. All right. Abby, what do you do?
Flower.
Flowers. That's good. Alec, what do you do?
We do like a concert or entertain. Dinner. About it.
You take them out or you just get them tickets?
Family and then we'll go like a game. Then.
All right, so each month we're going to be getting we're gonna get the month of September. Actually, we should get those anytime. So we're gonna get your month of September sales from previous years for that month, and we'll provide the list for you guys. So then you'll see who it was you sold in that same month. So you can see when their anniversary is, how many years it is, and then now you can follow it up with a phone call. Or you could do a video, but this is what the list will look like. It'll tell the deal number and all that stuff, and who it was, how much was the sale. That's a good idea, because then you can go back and look at, maybe see how much equity they have with buy side, something like that. And then also it'll show if you split the deal with somebody else, another General Scott broker, it will show a number 2. And you'll get the contact info that's in the system. So if there was an email, that'll be in that as well. But if not, you can, possibly get with like Chase or something and get in with the home access tools to get the phone numbers and emails.
What are we talking about here?
Home sales anniversaries for your past clients.
You guys
We're gonna be giving them to you guys digitally, so then you'll be able to get those. Digital or paper, Amy? Digital, okay. We can print it too.
Digital?
Sure. Everyone's getting printed, yay. But you can follow it up with social media graphics. Those are in, all of the stuff's in your MyDesk. The scripts for phone calls, Popeye ideas, handwritten note cards. Bear Printing now has all of the home sale anniversaries cards with blank, you can go ahead and do handwritten notes. Voice, video, text messages, scripts, and then of course the email from your MyDesk. You can do the CRM template for that to go out to them on their anniversary, and have different ones for the different anniversaries. So first home sale anniversary all the way up to like 20 years or something like that. So those are all in there. Here's like a video, or a voice or video message for the client. Like if it's someone you haven't contacted in a long time. I know in our coaching accountability group, we talked about this and challenging everyone who had past sales to people they haven't talked to in like a decade to try it and do it. So we'll see how that worked. But all of that is inside of your MyDesk. Just go to your John L. Scott library, then the marketing folder, and it's home anniversary. With that, I have a special guest, Mr. Jerry McConnell, gonna come up, just want to talk about his Foursquare group and what they're doing with investments and whatnot.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Jeremy. This is Rory. He's one of my partners. And really, what we want to do is kind of explain to you guys what we're doing, partnering with HouseAmp, which is one of the tools that we have in our arsenal here to add value to the customer. And essentially what we're doing is we're going in, and even if it's like a paint, floor, quick touch up, we're letting them know that we'll go ahead and do that for them on the HouseAmp. And we've been able to lock in all of our brokers at 3% in this market. So we're encouraging all you guys, we're gonna do a like happy hour open house here, I think like the first week of September. We haven't booked it yet, but we'll get all those details out. And essentially what we want to do is teach you guys how to look for the eye of the contractor. Like when you're going in, see some things that you can say, hey, maybe they have 3, 4, 5 different brokers they're talking to. And they're like, well, what's going to separate you from the rest? Well, you could just sit down and say, well, I can see you need paint, you need carpets, you need roof. I can get all that covered to you, zero out of pocket. Here's how it works. You can contact me and I'll be the point of contact for the HouseAmp piece. And then Rory and I will come in, bid the property, sit down with the client, go over everything. And then as a benefit to you guys, we're getting 3% for all the brokers that are doing that, because it's a no-brainer. So we just package it as, hey, if you're gonna work with this company, then our charge is 3% because of the value we're bringing. We're having 0 sellers push back, even if they have a discounted broker willing to just undercut us and come in at like 1% or 1.5. And the benefit of that is we're getting like traction and records where this one that we record today, they had a cash offer at 900,000. We did about $150,000 remodel and got them 100 grand over asking than what they would have got if they were to take the 900 net. So it's super beneficial. And as we could see there's almost no properties on the market. People are looking for the best value. They want the turnkey, inspection-free property, and it's really working. So we're wanting to ramp that up and be a big impact to John L. Scott, and then have you guys help us get more of those deals so that we can work with you guys and partner up. But so yeah, Rory and I run the Roofing 425 Cascade. We're both HouseAmp approved. We've gone through the process a couple times with them. We've had multiple conversations, so we're good. We're good with it to the point where we can sit down with you and just go over everything and help the client feel at ease to move forward and go from there. So we'll send out an email or something just to market with everyone so you guys can see what date we're gonna come out. And then I would just encourage you to come and we can go over, all the things that we can do for the clients, the sellers, the level of construction that we can do for their properties, and then how you can come in and pivot and sell for you to get that 3%, get the 1A signed, and then lock that in. So,
And Jeremy's a broker here, just to be clear, to make sure. And if you guys have any off-market properties, you want to know about those, correct?
yeah, so right now, if we worked with Vanessa quite a bit and Tony on the same play, which is if you go to a property and sometimes you're dealing with a situation where there's death, divorce, whatever the case may be, hoarders, and they don't even want you to remodel their property. They don't want to list it. They don't want you to remodel it. They just want an as-is cash offer. because they don't want to deal with having a sign out front, or they don't want photos posted about their property. They want a private sale. We can write an offer within 24 hours of seeing the property. And our list of buyers right now is like 25,000 plus. We're still working with hedge funds. We're still working with some of the bigger buyers. And if you guys think people aren't buying, I'll tell you what, who knows James Daynard? No? Daynard, Google him. He's a beast. He's coaching people right now to buy 5 to 10 properties per week. And if they buy into his system, he's personally taking them through the whole process. So one of our buyers, we started working with this guy, I think about 30 to 60 days ago. And he called me and he's like, I need 5 to 10 properties a week. I don't care where you find it, just bring me the deal. And he is at the beginning of his buy and hold career and flip career. So his margins can be a little bit more tight than others, meaning that he'll take a $25,000, $15,000 profit versus that 50 to 100,000 profit that a lot of other investors, like I won't take a deal and flip it unless I can make 100 grand. But I've been through all of it. So I want it to be worth my time, but there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to get as many properties as possible. Especially during this time, they see the opportunity. So there are people out there that are doing that. So going back, there's huge amount of buyers that are looking. So if you guys have any property where you just know it doesn't fit to go on market, just give us a call first. Let us take a peek at it, run an analysis on it, run a report. Laura and I will go check it out, and then we can give you guys some options. We can give you an offer, which is going to connect one of our buyers to your seller, get you a commission paid, and or pivot it right into like a fix and list is what we're calling it, where we'll do the full remodel and then list it on market. Yeah.
Question? I thought I saw.
Yeah, because I was kind of getting confused as to, are you an investor? Are you a contractor? Are you,
Oh,
it was like, you're talking about so many different things. I was
sure.
kind of confused as to
I should have started that way.
role.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All the above. I mean, primarily, we have a construction company, we have an off-market company, we have a brokerage team, so we kind of hit every part of the business. And then our goal is to create more. I mean, there's such a large community in this market, and connect more people with us so that we can get more people paid and walk them through the process. We just want to do deals. We are. It's our craft, we love it, it's our drive, we want to move forward with as many deals as possible, so however we can do it.
Okay, so today, though, you're talking about your role as a contractor with
Yeah.
House Amp.
With House Amp.
Okay,
So if you had a seller, and well, Vanessa's a great example, we're still kind of working with one of her sellers, had 2 tenants or a couple tenants in the property. Want to know what it would look like if we did a full remodel, what his net would be on the back end, or if you could get an as is. And we presented both those options. So I'm giving you guys, our whole pitch today is come to our event. We'll teach you guys how you can get more deals done and have more options for your sellers, whether it's as is, House Amp, or anything like that.
And I know Jeremy for a while. I brought him to this office. I've known him for like, what, 6, 7 years now. He's been, even before he was licensed, he used to help me a lot on all my off market. So he's definitely been a huge asset to my team. So I'm so glad that you're here and you're able to provide this extra value for all of the brokers here. So I'm gonna share him with you guys, okay?
thank you, Madam President.
Awesome. All right.
Got a couple quick things to add, maybe that might help out. So when you're thinking about, getting a listing agreement signed, it's an option close, right? So when we come in, we do a net sheet. We show, you're gonna net, sell as is, this is where you're at. Go through the pain of a remodel, this is the additional amount you'll net. So we approach it as investors, where we're not gonna go through the pain of doing that unless they're gonna net 2 times, 3 times. If they put 80,000 coming out of closing back into House Amp, then they're gonna net 80, 100, 20,000 more. Right, it's gonna be worth their while, and we show that on paper, and we stick to that, right? And we have a lot of success, every deal is a success story that we do, and it works. Also think about a couple other things like, your 35 Rs, right? We're quick to get in, get those things wrapped up so you can get to close.
That's really important, you know, so you're gonna want our contact information for that. Also, roof certifications. You know, we've got a huge roofing division. That's one of our biggest things. So it's really important to do that. And one more thing is we have a referral program. We've got a lot of deals where they sold a home, and then they remodeled. We're doing one right now in Shoreline. They live across the street, they're still renting, and they bought the home across the street. Before they moved in, they had us go in and gut the kitchen, and we're doing a whole new kitchen for them, and we ended up drywalling the house, and they, you know how it goes. They're like, can you do this? And then last night they texted me, they want a waterfall countertop, and you know how it goes. So and it's a referral. So the agent that got us, that brought that to us in-house, he's John L. Scott, he gets a referral fee. So he makes commissions simply by, so it didn't go traditionally through the house amp system, but it's something to add value to your clients and get a lot more deals. And then even that, it also helps you secure the 3%. So, cause you're not a discounted listing, you're not racing to the bottom. You're not competing against Zillow 1%, you know, type of thing. So you're offering that quality, you're putting your value up here where we offer the fix and list. We are, you know, you're a 3% agent. And if they go as is, the 3% remains and you still, you know, you add that value. So it builds all of you up. That's.
Can I add one more thing? So, and if your sellers don't want to do a full on remodel, you could just tell them, hey, we just need to get this house financed. And they know what they need to do to get it financed. So if they want to do just the bare minimum, get it financeable, they can do that too.
Yeah, and one thing that I'll give you like a sneak peek of what we'll go over in September is, we talked to our social media expert, and we're gonna cover your guys' marketing. So like any deal that we do together, where it's house amp, John L. Scott, you guys get 3%, and the whole thing gets remodeled and listed and sold. We wanna do a social media video for you guys at the end, where our social media guy will come in, film the whole thing, construct you on how he's coaching people in the market to do social media marketing, and give you guys a really solid video that you can share across all platforms, showing the product that you did and pitching that you can do more to hopefully pull more business into you guys that way.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's one thing that we're gonna try to do.
Right on. Well, thank you, Jeremy. Alright. Very last thing, feature JLS tools. Obviously, you need referrals across the planet, anywhere in the world. Jump into your My Desk, or you can even go straight to jlsoutgoingreferrals.com. Put in the information of the client, put in your information. You get a 24% referral fee when it closes, wherever it's at, anywhere on the planet. And they handle everything. They keep you updated every week on what's going on with the referral. So it's very cool. And then last but not least, Market Ready Plus, just like Jeremy talked about, you know, you guys have that all in your My Desk. They're already certified, stuff like that. So your contractors are already in it and approved, and they can get more jobs through that as well. So your partners also can get added in that list. Trusted partners, obviously bookwithchase.com. If you guys need more stuff from Access, I know he's going to do another class next month, and that new system that they were using for pinpointing farm leads with the technology has worked and gotten someone an actual listing on the strategies that they were just talking about the last time he was here. So hit him up. And with that, I have the quote of the month is, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. That is it. Thank you guys for making it today. Appreciate you all. And don't forget to register for all of the events and everything we've got coming up. Thank you, guys.